and Mr. Ahmed Abdel Magid, who's from Jeddah Center of Development, and to have a discussion. If you don't mind, I'll go a little bit about our digital twin story, because this will kind of will lay the foundation a little bit for our discussion. But I'll just shift sideways a little bit. So, until we get settled, so basically, I was going to talk a little bit about digital twins and smart cities, to just talk a little bit, to kind of go into the panel, and talking about our context in digital twins, and AAC context and GIS context in it. So for us, what essentially is a digital twin is the question that we usually ask, and everyone kind of seems to talk about and build in their organizations, but what it comes down to, in our definition as Esri, is there's a virtual representation of the real world, including all the physical objects, the assets that we've got, the processes, the relationships, and behaviors behind it. So basically, defining a pole between two cables in a transmission line, having that with a conductor that kind of connects those poles with each other, and connected that to a generator from one side, from one end, but then a substation the other end, in the utility side of things, and then connecting those endpoints to customers. That's a network that kind of is a digital twin of the network, correct? But then if we say we take this network and we put it into actual physical assets, so we have the generation plant, we have the pole, we have the actual material of the cables, we have things that go behind it, but we also have the connectivity to the directionality of it and the way it moves from one location to the other. But also other obstacles, other geographical aspects, so things such as rivers and lakes around it. But then we've got as well things such as, well, the weather conditions around it, the rain, and all the other elements that go up above it. But then we have all the vegetation covered, trees and other aspects that kind of go with it. But then also we have another version of that. So we get a 3D version of that, so an actual representation of the 3D of it, with superimposed with the digital terrain model, superimposed with other elements, investigating the assets in it, having things such as BIM models, like we just discussed, with integration with BIM, all that being in a twin. So a digital twin is essence. It's not just one asset. It's not just GIS. That's what brings the digital models together. And therefore, the vision becomes also that GIS kind of creates that digital twin of that model, and it brings in, like I said in the first presentation, the social and natural and built environments together to generate and create that model. and for our world, we kind of break that down into specifically four different types of models, four twins. So a landscape information model, a land information model, a BIM model obviously, and a NIM, which is a network information model, and a city information model. For GIS kind of brings those kind of tools and kind of draws those connections between those information models in a very seamless way, and gets them to integrate and talk to each other, so you can sift through those four systems together in one go. With a land information model, or land-based information model, there are many systems. So systems such as in our Live in Atlas, we have the systems that kind of have all the kind of wind direction flow, the directionality of different winds at different levels, but also not just that, visualizing that, understanding the true essence of it, the speeds of those winds, but also sea currents. And understanding exactly where those happen, where temperature of them, the directionality of them, the flow of them, the impact of that on our habitat. So that's an information model that is out there that you can even cut through, because it's GIS is 3D. You can cut into different levels. You can understand salinity of seas in different places of the earth, but also understanding as well how that kind of goes up and down in terms of the level that it kind of belongs to. Other elements are in the land-based information model as well, is things of where things are in terms of not just the above sea level and the kind of land information side of things, but also the subterranean aspects. So again, you got all the pipelines, you've got the connectivity behind it, the things that connect to the network information model. Which brings me as well to BIM. So BIM, we've discussed a lot about the building information model, how it integrates with GIS and the differences between it and GIS. But also, we've seen the talk with Autodesk on the integrations between both models. It's a very integral part of that vertical environment with the horizontal environment, connecting both worlds. And we've seen the benefits and discussed kind of the benefits of understanding those both worlds together in terms of project monitoring, in terms of design assessment, in terms of many elements. But then network information model, where you have the superimposition of those network assets on the earth, and having been able to kind of go and investigate it and the subterranean side of things, but not just that, but also connecting those assets to their asset files, understanding exactly where they are, the connectivity rules between them, and connecting that to the above terrain world, but also in an IoT kind of sense, also connected to those aspects and understanding where operation maintenance and how could be carried out, and where and how could it be carried out in terms of field mobility, in terms of sending in people to fix specific assets. The last but not least is the city information model, where on a city scale you get 3D blocks that you can build in GIS, connecting that with the land information model that kind of goes behind the GIS, but also visualizing information on those and kind of color coding buildings depending on different elements that you want to show on them. But going into that and breaking that again into the underground world, breaking into the visual side of things, building things from point clouds, or building 3D elements out of it. So in essence, our digital twin is bringing all those systems, all those models together. And maybe that's a good segue to our panel discussion today, where I'm gonna let me bring this down to our panel screen. All right, so this is a good segue to our panel discussion. We're going to discuss today scaling success and future strategies. It's basically a conversation that's very timely today, after the presentations that we've seen, after a few of the discussions that we had probably during the break. And the question is more of, if I take a seat, the question is becoming more of, are digital twins important, or are they something that kind of benefits GIS? Are they things that kind of benefit our projects? That's not the question anymore. We know digital twins are important. We know that they are fundamental to kind of build those connectivity and collaboration environments between different systems. But the question is, how do we make the most use out of it? How do we integrate GIS into it? How do we have the narration a bit slightly more wholesome of GIS, geospatial information, of CAD drawings, of BIM data, of asset management systems, of other elements as well. How do we enable that to get our cities grow? Also, other aspects are such as in Saudi Arabia, with this big boom, with all these projects kind of having a lot of funds and budgets kind of being allocated to them. How do we make the most out of those budgets? Lots of us today in this room have invested a lot in GIS as well. How to maximize our investment? We spent money on it. There's a budget coming out on it. Obviously, there's more budgets on other things that we do. But how do we make the most out of this amount of investment that we put? We're already using stuff. We're already building things with it. How do we maximize that investment? So I'm gonna break this down into questions, and thanks for being on this panel. And maybe I'll start here with the scaling thing. Say we want to build the biggest digital twin, probably the first in the world that does A, B, and C. Amazing stuff. It solves certain problems. Every project is unique, like we said. Every organization is unique, so you have unique challenges. Now the question is, you're building and trying to kind of keep up with this building, and there's what we call a pilot fatigue when you're in the cockpit. Riding the plane and you're piloting the plane and people behind you, and you're tired. You've been there for 16 hours piloting from the Middle East to Los Angeles, for example, tired, exhausted, and you start taking wrong decisions because you're tired. You just want to get things done. You're on a motorbike. You're cycling through heat or rain, so you're tired, and you wanna and within the project life cycle, within 1 year performing and operating and building and trying to have all these kind of amazing applications that you're building, you suddenly realize, well, you know, I just want to take a step back, or have someone else to start thinking about the bigger picture, because I can't think about it. I'm very invested in what I'm doing. So the scale question now is what I want to ask is, where do you see yourself kind of stepping out of that, and how have you came over that kind of type of fatigue and challenge from having to deliver and having to discuss things? Does it go back to strategy? Does it go back to, well, like all the kind of big cities that all the 36 cities that you're building in modern with yourself modern? Is how do you kind of adjust to that, and how you kind of are able to cope with that using digital twins, using GIS? Maybe start from my side here.
Thanks a lot for this amazing introduction. So let's speak first about the pillars that we had before. We started with nothing in mind, to be frank, like 6 years back, and GIS was deal like